Alright, let's see here. Let me get chat open. Gay. Good morning to you too, Anders. Did somebody request Guns N' Roses? Because I thought I was on like a release radar playlist. And I did it yesterday. Gotcha. Yo, these dogs, I'm gonna lose my shit. Alright, I want to read this article to start. Remote bindings are bindings that connect to a deployed resource on your Cloudflare account instead of a locally simulated resource. And recently, we announced that remote bindings are now generally available. Is this the connect? Oh, yeah, no, this is what we want. Is this what I want? Yeah, this is what I want. I might have to go get the dogs under control. We're rewriting the Spotify flow. I'm gonna give Bodhi one more time. Alright, 1 second. Hey. What are we doing? Knock it off. Bodhi. Alright. With this launch, you can now connect to deployed resources like R2 buckets and D1 databases while running worker code on your local machines. This means you can test your local code changes against real data and services without the overhead of deploying for each iteration. This blog post will dig into the technical details of how we build it, creating a seamless local development experience. Developing on the Workers platform, a key part of the Workers platform has been the ability to develop your code locally without having to deploy it every time you want to test something. Though the way we've supported this has changed greatly over the years. We started with Wrangler Dev running in remote mode. This works by deploying and connecting to a previous version of your worker that runs on Cloudflare's network every time you make a change to your code, allowing you to test things out as you develop. However, remote mode isn't perfect. It's complex, hard to maintain, and the developer experience leaves a lot to be desired. Slow iteration speed, unstable debugging connections, and a lack of support for multi-worker scenarios. Those issues and others motivated a significant investment in a fully local development environment for workers, which was released in mid-2023 and became the default experience for Wrangler. Since then, we've put a huge amount of work into the local dev experience with Wrangler, the Cloudflare V plugin, alongside at Cloudflare Vitest, Pool Workers, and MiniFlare. Still, the original remote model remained accessible via flag, Wrangler dev -- remote. When using remote mode, all the DX benefits of a fully local experience and the improvements we've made over the last few years are bypassed. So why do people still use it? It enables one unique key feature: binding to remote resources while locally developing. When you use local mode to develop a worker locally, all of your bindings are simulated locally using initially empty data. This is fantastic for iterating on your app's logic with test data, but sometimes that's not enough. Whether you want to share resources across your team, reproduce bugs tied to real data, or just be confident that your app will work in production with real resources. Given this, we saw an opportunity. If we could bring the best parts of remote mode, that is, access to remote resources, to Wrangler Dev, there'd be one single flow for developing workers that would enable many use cases, while not locking people out of the advancements we've made to local development. And that's what we did. As of Wrangler 4.37, you can pick on a per binding basis whether a binding should use remote or local resources, simply by specifying the remote option. It's important to re-emphasize this. You only need to add remote true. There's no complex management of API keys and credentials involved. It's all just using Wrangler's existing OAuth connection to Cloudflare's API. The eagle-eyed among you might have realized that some bindings already worked like this, accessing remote resources from local dev. Most prominently, the AI binding was a trailblazer for what a general remote binding solution could look like. From its introduction, the AI binding always connected to remote resource, since a true local experience that supports all the different models you can use with Workers AI would be impractical and require a huge upfront download of AI models. As we realized, different products within Workers needed something similar to remote bindings, images in hyperdrive, for instance, we ended up with a bit of patchwork of different solutions. We've now unified under a single remote binding solution that works for all binding types. How we built it. We wanted to make it really easy for developers to access remote resources without having to change their production workers code. And so we landed on a solution that required us to fetch data from the remote resource at the point of use in your worker. Const value equals await m.kv.getSomeKey. So if that was our requirement, how would we get there? For instance, how would we get from a user calling m.kv.putKeyValue in their worker to actually storing that in a remote KV store? The obvious solution was perhaps to use the Cloudflare API. Is that better? I wonder if I need to add some gain to my mic. Gain? I don't really know how gain works. Test. My voice should be louder now. Does that sound better? Both quite loud or too loud? Is my voice too loud? Because I had to reset up my mic yesterday. All right. I'll bump the music back up a little bit when I'm done reading this. The obvious solution was perhaps to use the Cloudflare API. We could have just replaced the entire env locally with stub objects that made API calls, transforming m.kv.put into put. This would have worked great for KV, R2, D1, and other bindings with mature HTTP APIs, but it would have been a pretty complex solution to implement and maintain. We would have had to replicate the entire bindings API surface and transform every possible operation on a binding to an equivalent API call. I think that should happen anyways. Additionally, some bindings operations don't have an equivalent API call and wouldn't be supportable using this strategy. So we realized that we already had a ready-made API waiting for us, the one we use in production. How bindings work under the hood in production. This is what I'm interested in. Most bindings on the Workers platform boil down to essentially a service binding. A service binding is a link between two workers that allow them to communicate over HTTP or JSRPC. For example, the KV binding is implemented as a service binding between your authored worker and a platform worker, speaking HTTP. The JS API for the KV binding is implemented in the worker's runtime. and translate calls like m.kv.get to HTTP calls to the worker that implements the KV service. So there's still like an API there. You notice there's a natural async network boundary here between the runtime translating the mkv get call and the worker that implements the KV service. We realized that we could use that natural network boundary to implement remote bindings. Instead of the production runtime translating mkv to an HTTP call, we could have the local runtime translate that to an HTTP call and then send it directly to the KV service, bypassing the production runtime. Yeah. The above diagram shows a local worker running with a remote KV binding instead of being handled by local KV simulation. It's now being handled by a remote proxy client. This worker then communicates with a remote proxy server connected to the real remote KV resource. Proxy server. Ultimately allowing the local worker to communicate with the remote KV data seamlessly. Each binding can independently either be handled by a remote proxy client, all connected to the same remote proxy server, or by a local simulation, allowing for a very dynamic workflow where some bindings are locally simulated while others connect to real remote resources. Yeah. How JS RPC fits in. The above section deals with bindings that are backed by HTTP connections, like KV and R2, but modern bindings use JS RPC. That means we need a way for locally running worker D to speak JS RPC to a production runtime instance. In a stroke of good luck, a parallel project was going to make this possible, as detailed in the Cap'n Web blog. We integrated, for what it's worth, Cap'n Web is sick. And everybody should check this out because I think there's so much promise in this project. We integrated that by making the connection between the local worker D instance and the remote runtime instance communicate over WebSockets using Cap'n Web, enabling bindings backed by JSRPC to work. This includes newer bindings like images as well as JSRPC service bindings to your own workers. Remote bindings with Vite, Vitest, and the JS ecosystem. We didn't want to limit this exciting new feature to only Regular Dev. We wanted to support it in our Cloudflare V plugin and Vitest pool workers packages as well, as allowing any other potential tools and use cases, blah, blah, blah. The Wrangler package now exports utilities such as Start Remote Proxy Session that allows tools not leveraging Wrangler Dev to also support remote bindings. Interesting. That feels like it could unlock some things. Anyways, Cap'n Proto is sick. I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff built on top of Cap'n Proto or Cap'n Web over the next couple years because it feels important. All right. Let's get our. Oh, I fixed yesterday afternoon. I fixed our recipes project. Got the login working. Check this out. This isn't what we're working on today, but it should load now. I'm probably still logged in. Boom. Let me sign out. And then I can sign in. My password was, what was it? Password 1234. Boom. Look at that. We're logged in. And live store should also be connected. Boom. Connected and syncing. So we got that working. All right, so the next thing I want to do is update Ghosty. Get that guy updated. We'll update dot files, and then there's a NeoVim plugin I want to install that I found yesterday. Z dot git diff. What's going on here? Git status. Oh. Yeah, can add TS error. Get that. I just lost where I'm going. I want to install this. This looks like a really nice plugin for diagnostics. Restart.files. Yes, please. Let's see here. We'll vim in. What up, Priv? I think I have a freaking mosquito bite on my freaking knee. Bro, I hate mosquitoes. All right, I also want to fix the audio a little bit here. That's normally where I keep the music, right around there. Does my voice and music sound good and keyboard sound good? .doctor .packages list. See, that seems wrong. Because I do have some of these definitely installed. Let's fix that. Doctor what was it? Let's see if we can figure it out ourselves before we have AI do it. Packages list. For read in line, I don't know what bash rematch does. Brew list formula grep for the package. So brew list dash formula. Tree's in there. So if we grep for tree, we'd find it. Whoops, not like that. Grep dash q. I wonder if that, where's that? There it is. Tree. Dude, I don't know where my keybinds are off the top of my head when I go for them. All right, so when running dot packages list, it shows that packages I do have installed being not installed. Debug. All right, let's see what this thing figures out here. What is happening? Yeah, there's gotta be something wrong with the parsing. Where's Bad Cop when you need her? Alright, this song is fucking dog water. Tony Hawk? I love Bryce Vine. Is it any better? The Allen key yesterday morning was used to adjust. What is happening right now? I think it's just stuck. It was used to adjust my monitor. For some reason, my monitor ended up sloping forward on the mount and it needs an Allen key, so I readjusted it. Priv, is the music better now? Cool. It's good enough. Well, let's get it right. Last day of being unemployed, how do you feel? I feel ready to be working. It's been driving me crazy seeing all the cool stuff that Cloudflare is shipping and not being able to participate. I'm ready to jump in. You know? Alright, come on. Claude, figure this out. Sounds like you have a laundry list of fixes of things that annoyed you about their dashboard. Yeah, I probably have a list of like 40 things that uh, will hopefully be relatively low lift fixes and that don't step on other people's toes. So I'm gonna try to use those to get like acquainted with like the dev process and the tooling and the code base. Found it. The issue is set-o pipe fail combined with grep q. When grep q finds a match and exits earlier, it closes the pipe, causing brute list to receive sig pipe. With pipe fail, the whole pipeline fails. Fix. Cache brew list. Whoa, slow down. Cache brew list output wants to avoid sig pipe issues with pipe fail. I have no idea. This is the really only completely vibe coded piece of software that I rely on that I have no idea how it really works. Because I do not know Bash very well. I saw your TypeScript plugin on awesome plugins. Which one, TSC or TypeScript Error Translator? Yeah, I've seen that. TypeScript Translator. We rewrote TypeScript Translator yesterday, um, and it should be better. Because the old one, I didn't realize it got so popular because there's like no telemetry for NeoVim plugins, so like I don't have any visibility into how people are using my stuff, and like all the issues on it were like 2 years old. And then I went and looked, and it had like 500 stores and was stars and being included in like NeoVim distributions. I was like, shit. So we rewrote it yesterday, and I've been test driving it right now, which there is something I wanted to check here. Compare how this branch receives / parses LSP diagnostics versus the impl on main, and make sure that we are correctly receiving and parsing. Receiving, parsing, and rewriting. I wanted to check that. We should run into some TypeScript errors today as we're writing code. So that should have just got fixed. Let's come in here and do this. And let's do brew packages list. Or dot packages list. All right, now we have everything installed. Great. That's what we want. because I'm gonna get ready to use Dot to set up my new work laptop. Update Dot git push. All right, now let's add this NeoVim plugin. Let's go in lazy. Fucking Lewis Snip, dude. Lewis Snip pisses me off so much. I hate Lewis Snip. This never works. All right. Home config nvim Lua plugins, and then we're going for this plugin here. This looks like a really nice plugin. So we're gonna try this out. Tiny inline diagnostic Doppler. I always forget this. Oh, yeah. No, that's Raycast. It's Raycast. So I want to do this. We'll come in here. We'll say options. If I could, dang, option, that end is kind of hard to hit. Options equals table, and it's going to say multi-lines equals enabled. Enabled equals true. I want that. And what else do we want here? Overflow handling by default. That's sick. That's one thing that drives me crazy about normal diagnostics is they overflow off the screen with sources. I don't think I care about sources. I kind of like that. Dude, sometimes I love split keyboards. I bitch about this every stream. I feel like I can never get my split keyboard to a spot where I like it. Just like off the rip when I sit down. I need to put like tape markers down. What'd I get up to? I got up to 168. I was rocking at 140, 120. Morning, Wizard. Oof. Whatever. That feels good. Diagnostic count. I like that. Related diagnostics by default. Yeah, I like that. Make the cursor background. Set arrow to color the arrow to match the severity of the first diagnostic. What arrow? What do you think about a person having two MacBooks instead of a MacBook and an iPad? You're gonna have to give me more than that. Why would you need two MacBooks? Like, I have two MacBooks, but one's work issued and one's my personal one.
Functions describe the world.
All right, I think I want power line. Yeah, I think I either want power line or no nerd font. I'm not sure which. Like, this one looks pretty good. I like that. Maybe we do modern. We'll leave it as modern, I guess, and we'll see how it feels. I want to send this to Ethan too. Without context, what would your first impression be? My first impression would be probably that it's somebody using that has a personal MacBook and then one issued by work. That would be my guess. All right. So that should be set up now. We'll see how that feels. And we'll do this. Add tiny inline diagnostics. Is that what it's called? Tiny inline
Functions describe the world.
I bought two, and I'm skeptical whether to replace one with an iPad or keep the Mac. I am a developer, and I don't work. So how are you choosing which MacBook to use? Like, how do you differentiate the task for each one? I don't fully understand that. That feels weird. I also, I don't think I would use a tablet a lot. So I would probably just, save my money and have one MacBook. Yo, that's the dream wizard. Someday. I want to do one other thing, Claude. Run shell check on dot to lint. I don't work yet. So talk to me more about your rationale between buying an M4 Pro and a Pro M5. All right. Let's get out of the code. Quit out there, clear that. And we'll jump over to Cloudflare Twitch. We don't need this. And we can Vim in here. Whoa. Failed to run config. Let's see if that happens again. I bought the M5, felt like the RAM wasn't good enough for my coding task, so I bought the M4 Pro because it has 24 gigs. Do you also use Effect for front end? I feel like at the moment you can only use full Effect in backend tests. I use Effect for front end. We built Vercel.com/domains. That uses Effect on the front end and is the fastest domain search on the planet. That's fine. How's render for backend? I don't know what render for backend means. Tree sitter, warning trees. Okay, yeah. I haven't updated this stuff for a while. All parsers. I must auto update. That's fine. That's fine. I don't use any of that. This all looks good. Vercel can host backend. So it's just all my LSP config. All right. I mean, it seems fine now. Everything seems fine. All right, let's go into our API. We should have errors in here. Nice. Oh, that's kind of nice, chat. I kind of like this. Can I get to the diagnostic? I can. All right, what is this? So we're getting an error there. That's probably coming from copy diagnostic. Where is this coming from? All right, so we have some more errors with this thing. I'm so lost. I would focus on getting your app to run locally using whatever technology you want, and then worry about hosting later. Don't worry about where you're going to deploy yet. Let's see here. I know I have this custom toggle diagnostics. Is it in my key maps? Copy line diagnostics to keyboard. Ah. This is now broken because we disabled the diagnostics. I wonder if we can use the package we just installed. Tiny inline diagnostics. Not const. What am I doing? JavaScript brained. Attempt to index field virtual text. I don't know what's happening here. Does X have... It's not... I don't know where this is coming from. I can like try to copy this, make this no op and see if this is an issue. And then it might be in snacks. Diagnostics toggle. Attempt to index field virtual text. Does this need to be disabled first? All right, let's try right quitting all and going back in. And we'll go into here. All right, let's see if there's debugging. Okay, so we do have that. That's super nice. They give us the API we need here. Is there like a known bug with MioVim? All right, let's try a couple things here. I suspect that we're having a issue with snacks, possibly. And in here, well, we want to there's a way to make your own toggles in here. Yeah, like this. So let's split this and diagnostics, toggle diagnostics, and we're gonna copy what we do here. Copy this, paste this here. It's still super broken. We're gonna require this, and we're gonna yoink to the dot, and we're gonna find this, and then this is going to be inline diagnostics, and get is going to be, let's rename this to diagnostics. Yeah. I don't know why it's so upset. And the API we want is going to be, let's go back here. Where was that? Right here. Does it have an API for determining if it's enabled or disabled? I really like this plugin and I want it to work. m.config. All right, so config should be, it doesn't return. Yeah, it does return M. So we have that. And is there an enabled? Preset, modern, transparent, show related, blah, blah, blah. We might be able to use a global variable for this. Change. Setup, highlights. Diag.enable. Where does diag come from? Comes from here. m.enabled. Okay. So we have a piece of state that we can get there. And how was that exposed? Init diag. And toggle. Let's fork this and open up a PR. Side quest. Thanks, rats. Tiny. Go in here. And I want to go to tiny diagnostics, init, and then we want to yeah, we're gonna have to disable the plugin for now because this is borking everything. Tiny inline diagnostics, we'll say enabled is equal to false for now. And we'll jump back over here, close this, and go back in. And then into init. All right, there we go. We want to find where they have these functions right here. There could even be a function on the diag thing already. Diagonal if state user. So there's this user toggle state. So when it actually does this, what's this do? M.user disable, M.user toggle state. How does this work? Disable and I don't think these are used anywhere. When this module gets initted, m.enabled is true. State dot we might be able to, is state imported in here? No. We should probably expose it through this thing. Oh, it's right here. User toggle state. And where's init in this module? State.init ops. M.enable state.user m.enable m. So user state, user toggle state. All right, so I think we can I don't know how this state.enable. Yeah, it's like just not used anywhere that I can find. Actually, it would be better to look for disable. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. All right, here we go. Build mode changes, handle closure. If is mode state is mode disabled. So the only place it's used is in this handlers thing, which is build mode change handler, which returns a function that takes a mode and a buffer. Which, how does that work? Is mode disabled, disabled modes, mode. Okay, that's not what we want. I see what that's saying. So we do want the user enabled state, which if we go back to the diagnostics file, that exports this enabled. So if we go to init, we should be able to say re-export m.enabled is equal to diag.enabled. And I think that's all we would need to do. And then doing that, let's just make this PR, right? Fuck. I cloned it instead of forking it. I always do this. I need to fork this. Create fork. Come on. git checkout branch expose enabled state. And then I need to set the upstream remote origin. Git remote set URL origin this. And then we can do this, expose enabled state on main module. Git GPU. That should give us a branch to open a PR. Yep. Create the pull request, grab this, and then we're gonna have Claude use GitHub CLI to update the title and desk of this PR. The good news is we can do this without this PR merging. I don't need Discord open right now. I'm probably gonna have to stop streaming at around 10 a.m., but I'll probably come back. I have to do a I have to get a, there's like a I don't know what they call it, like a travel nurse coming to my house to do a health screen and blood work for a insurance policy. So I'll probably just I might even just leave stream going and throw on a YouTube video when that happens.
Functions describe the world.
All right. So we'll see if that gets merged. But in the interim, we can I think we can require in our snacks file and in our toggle that's right. In here, we need to import like this other thing, diag. And this thing will have we'll call this tiny, I guess, and so call this diag. That's what the module was called, right? Diag. I guess it is diagnostics. What up, Bishop? Then we'll say diag dot enabled set state if state oh, that must be, this will be tiny disable. All right, that should work. And we can delete this one now. PyWizard having flashbacks. And then this thing has a API exported that we can get the diagnostic under the current line. And we can replace our copy diagnostics to clipboard. Diagnostic under cursor. We're setting up this NeoVim plugin that I found that I think is really nice. And we just submitted a PR to it because I wanted to change something. And we should be able to go to utils. Or prelude. Yeah, this guy right here. We can rewrite this now. Grab you. And then we can say we don't need that. We can uncomment this, and then we can use our API here, diag.get diagnostic under cursor. And then we possibly can keep using the rest of this. And let's right quit out. I did. It was a simple thing. Which maybe we add some context. We'll say, we'll go to our PR. For additional context, I wanted this exposed to integrate with snacks toggle. Let's integrate with snacks toggle without needing to get at the internal diagnostic module. I feel like that's a reasonable PR, right? Like it's already basically exposed. So we got that. Let's quit out, Vim back in, lazy it up, update, make sure that tiny tag diagnostics is enabled. So let's see if we can cause some diagnostics in here now, like if I get rid of that. Why? I want to try. People said they had issues. All right, let's try that. I don't think that's the problem, but we'll try it anyways. So we'll go to Z. And we'll vim in here. Clean shot X or whatever it's called. I have no idea what this is. Lua C. Does anyone know what Lua C is? I think I'm gonna nuke this. It's just a cache. Like YOLO, who cares? And then the other thing they've recommended looking at was what is that thing? They said .cache and I'm always shipping. We opened up a PR to a NeoVim diagnostic tool already this morning. .local and .cache. Share. NVim. Lazy. We could nuke our entire lazy cache and it would just reinstall everything from scratch, which might be worth it. Yeet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so if we open Vim, I would expect everything would have to install again. Oh, we really screwed up here, chat. Local share. It's beautiful. Ella. Dot files home. We can probably fix this. Dot stow. Dot files at home. Yeah. I get it. And he was complaining about we want to probably nuke everything having to do with lazy. Swap. Bin. Okay, that's good. State. That looks good. And then share. We can probably clean up again. Here. Quit. Dot stow. Okay, so we got some stuff cooking here. Can we clean? Share envim lazy and there we go. Failed. Press I to install them again. Okay, that seems good. Envim CMP. You have changes. Lazy. Remove the plugin. X. Clean failed. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right, I think we're good. All right, so we're still having issues with some of this stuff. Clean failed. How are you cleaning failed? Local share, TypeScript tools, undo tree. Okay. All right, everything seems good here. We feel back to normal. Profiling works. All right. So, given that, let's go back to our good friend Snacks. and see if we can cause a diagnostics again, and it just works. Fuck. Why is this happening? We'll send Claude off on a mission. When using tiny inline diagnostics, why am I getting this error? Yeah, right, I'm not switching to NeoVim. I'll just not use this plugin. But we're gonna figure it out. There's only so many things that can be wrong. And it's all Lua code, so we can figure it out. Attempted to call. Okay, so this needs to be a function that just returns that. Oh my god. That's interesting, right? It never re-enables it. Yeah. If state tiny.enable. Shouldn't that work? Snacks dot. Oh my god, this is driving me crazy. Before we work on that, let's get the plugin actually working. So we have very lazy. Do we use virtual text anywhere else? I'm like just wondering if we have like a still. I don't see anything that would greater than 10 troubleshooting. Vert text. All right, where is this vert text? This could be it here, possibly. And it could be something with the lazy loading. That goes in here. And we'll throw this here. We can do like event buff enter. Buff enter, we'll try that. still. I mean, we might be able to put that in the ops file if this is still not working. Because I don't think it should be trying to do this. I wonder if I disable that. So that literally fixed it. I wonder if we take this and we go to options and we put this in here. Ah, there's the clash. Huh. What up, Suyash? We probably don't need this now. All right, this probably fixed it. The LSP load. Ah, oh, damn, it still is cooked. Fidget. I'm positive I have something just like clashing here. Let's try putting that option back into the options file. Options. Home.config and vim search grep diagnostics. It's possible that that's doing something. No, it's something to do with virtual text. Could be this. plugins, tiny. I have no idea why this is happening. Attempt to index, and it's going from vim editor.lua client function handler handle diagnostic. And down here, we're setting it to be false. Like if we go back and we set it in both places, like is it gonna be better? I just fixed that and the errors still occur. Dig deeper. Ultra think. I wonder why it's not working. Nice. Sure. But the real issue, NeoVim 0.5 has a bug. Oh, does it really? I'm not sure if I believe that. Where did you find out about that bug in 0.11.5? Please give me the source. Time to raise a PR and Vim. Well, that did not work. All right. Oh, so it defaults. Just don't set it at all. Nice. Okay. Oh, yo, what's up? That's awesome, dude. So obviously you see that I'm struggling with this error, and it looks like I mean, unless I made Claude get to this. It looks like there's a change in NeoVim 11 where virtual text API changed and is off by default or expects a table. Yeah. Simplest fix. So theoretically, let's relaunch here. I'm not using like the distribution. I'm managing my own. I can show you if this is true and the AI didn't hallucinate. I can show you a reproduction pretty quickly. Yeah, okay, so that, I don't think the AI is true. I'm getting this here. Attempt to index field, virtual text, a Boolean value. And let me make sure my other file where I had virtual text settings. Yeah, I deleted that. So if we come back and follow the instructions from tiny inline, where was this guy right here, and we throw this in here. Did I highlight too much here? Yeah, I did. I could probably just type this, be faster, whatever. We'll do that. So we set that, and we go back in, let the LSP load. We go here, do that, we get that error, and then if I set this to true, and we come back, yeah, we're gonna have to reload. And now it works, but we get the virtual text. Let me check the help for diagnostic.config. What is the API? Vim.diag. Is this search help? Vim.diagnostic.config. I'm on 0.12 and it's working. What is this here? Takes this. Yeah. It could be that it's only an 11 and not 12. Let me load a separate config. Like, it seems like it should be fine. All right, what else did this thing say? Prove this. Your fix did not work. We could it's got to be like a collision, right? Probably. So let's do you use nvim lsp config? I do use nvim lsp config. Vim.lsp, or maybe I refactored this to use the native thing. Let's make sure another test I want to do is let's see if it's just Lua. I doubt it's just
Functions
Lua.
describe
Maybe it
the
is just Lua.
world.
Let's go back in there and oh yeah, I forgot. So can you try adding virtual text in nvim lsp config ops? lsp config. Where would I set that? Because I think it would have used to be in here, right? Like let me look at my undo tree. And here we would have had, I don't know, parent servers. Where does servers come from? Yeah, this has got to be something with my lazy. I have to have something. Let me try doing some obvious ones here. Let me just disable, and we'll work backwards, and we can figure out false. Let's get that one gone. Let's disable snacks for now. And let's go back to tiny. Fidget is probably one that could be causing some issues. Let's start there and see if we get past it. All right, so we're still getting it. Cloak, maybe. Just like anything that's like touching. CMP, yeah, we'll disable that. All right, let's try those. That's fine. All right, still happening. All right, I need to go back to CMP and fix this. This wasn't the problem. I mean, we can try. I doubt that's it. I have an idea. I have a better idea than doing everything I just did there. We'll make a fresh NeoVim config and we'll try loading in that way and see if it's just, if we just install that with lazy. Git restore Lua / plugins / cloak Lua. I don't. This is gonna be so annoying, but it's fine. Lua / what happened to the music? Got through the playlist. I'm not sure. I managed my NeoVim installation with Brew. Plugins / conform. Lua / plugins / fidget. Lua / plugins / git signs status. I tried clearing my cache right before you got here, but I can try that again. What's the right way to clear the cache? Plugins dot Lua line sudo slash plugin slash nvim cmp sudo slash, we don't have to touch snacks slash UFO. We'll go to snacks quick. Vim. Hey. Local state. We're going to try that again. We'll do the sudo. That's not my password for this. I don't know. That was my... God, I don't know my freaking... I use my finger. I need to configure that. We can change directory into .local. Change into share. List. And into nvim. We'll just remove -rf mason right now. That doesn't seem like it should do anything there, right? Here, hold on. We'll do the other one too. I'll grab this one. I can't copy and paste from Twitch 2. That drives me crazy too. Local share, nvim, local share, local state, nvim dot back. And then we can do that for dot cache. All right, now if we vim in, it should reinstall. It's okay. Failed to run diagnostics. That was an interesting error message. All right, so let's go to Tiny. Loading. Boom. Okay, so let's do the thing where we try a fresh config.
The world.
And we'll do just do like fresh. And
Functions
we'll
describe the world.
do init.lua. And let's go find. What up, John? Init.lua required. Everybody else. Spec import plugins, and then we just add like plugins. We'll write that, and we'll do tiny diagnostics.lua. Save that. Come in here, tiny. Why'd you take the cat? They're getting cleaned. Nightshade. Yeah, chat. Yeah, I'll try that. Quick. I have an idea. Yeah, I get it. We're going to go to /code personal, and then this is fine. We can just go into CF. Dang it, I thought this would work. I broke something too much. I'm not giving up. I'm figuring this out. I'm like adamant on figuring this out. home config mvim lua plugins. Oh wait, how did we get these? These were supposed to go. Hold on here. Yeah. Plugin. Two slash only loads on TypeScript files. We'll move TS error translator to temp. We'll do the same thing for UFO and Wilder. And now we should have like, what else do we have? TypeScript tools. So that's in key maps. All right. This is obviously not how we're gonna do it. So we want to do LSP attach. Try that. LSP attach. Failed to load plugin. You're fine. Figure it out. I think I need to all right, everything should be installed now. Except for randomly, I don't know why this is wrong. What? I have nuked my ish. All right, let's see here. All right. Yeah, Wilder will be fine. Damn, dude. How can I upgrade to NVIM 0.12 using Brew? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. Isn't available. Build the latest commit myself. All right, we can try that. Brody's nuts. This is still better than Nick's, by the way. Yeah, I've never had an issue. That's a lie. I did have a homebrew issue one time with a buggy version of like a Postgres driver, and this was, I don't remember what happened. Something happened and it was really annoying. All right. All right, we're now on a new version of NVIM. So let's see if this is the error. We want to go to Tiny. Please work. Damn, it's still broke on 12. Attempt to index a field virtual text. I'm trying to think about like what possibly. What if we set lazy to false? All right, we'll try that. Like force it to set this to false. It's got to be one of my other plugins. It has to be one of my other plugins. Uh, So that grep diagnostic.config. Okay. Just here. We've already tried disabling I mean, I feel like we're just gonna have to go I'm actually gonna have AI do this to help make this faster. Home slash dot. I'm gonna disable everything except for LSP and tiny. Because now I want to figure out why this is happening, like for sure. Claude. Disable all of my plugins. Except for except for auto CMP, LSP, and tiny diagnostics. I wonder. I wonder if it's TS error TS error translator. Because didn't we... Yeah, you're fine. Chat, did we cook ourselves yesterday? I bet this is it. I bet we just cooked ourselves right here. Re-enable everything except TS error translator. I might have to leave for a little bit, chat. I'm gonna find a YouTube video to play because I'm gonna have to get my blood drawn here by a in-home nurse in a couple minutes. We'll this is way different than what I thought. Watch this. There's one. Yeah, we'll watch this while we're gone. But I'm betting we just cooked ourselves. Yeah, I did scrape my wedding photos yesterday, Fafi. I can't, dude, could you imagine if I made her take my blood while I streamed? Bro, I bet that's it. I bet we freaking cooked ourselves on rewriting TS error translator. Honestly, I should have wrote a macro for this. All right. Let's just right quit all. Dude, I can already feel it in my bones. This is going to work. I can already feel it. Fucking cooked. Fucking cooked. Oh my god. So stupid. I'm so smart. The rewrite of TS error translator yesterday cooked us. Oh man, that is insanity that that's the thing that happened. All right, we should go fix this. In fact, we started to explore this earlier. Let's see here. So what do we think is happening? Override, that's fine. This isn't the one that's wrong. It's set up virtual text handler. This is where we're going wrong. Like, I wonder if we just take this rather than copying it. Let me see. Still Hopefully I wasn't supposed to fast. Well, hopefully I was allowed to drink coffee this morning. That would be a problem. All right, let's see if that fixed. Because we're going to have to fix TS error translator before we publish. Hey, Bug, thank you. I appreciate you for coming and hanging out and also merging my PR. Really appreciate it. Sorry for the confusion and probably added work on your part. Did not mean to cause that much noise. All right. So we at least know now that it's coming from me. And I'd be willing to bet, let's go into our code here. Yeah, I'm starting a new insurance policy. Vinda diagnostics handlers, TS error translator. Show. Like, what if we just like disable this? No, it has nothing to do with Cloudflare.
Functions describe the world.
Okay, so that is the problematic code. I'm wondering. Virtual text. How does this even work? I wonder when and where diagnostics normally get called. Where does diagnostics? I wonder if we can So I don't think we had this in the old version of the plugin. Let me check on that quick. We'll do a git checkout main. Yeah, we want to whip. Are we on main? Yeah, we're on main. I don't think I did anything with diagnostics or virtual text. We should probably also well, we can probably limit it. We probably still want to do something like this, to be honest. Crab rave. Let's go. So we are going to want, yeah, that's fine. In setup, yeah, it's fine. Let's just drop those in here for a second. We can go grab the supported servers in a second. Dude, this plugin is so good. Bug, I really, really like. Let's go. That even worked. My copy diagnostics thing, keybind still works. Hell yeah. I can get there, great. Perfect. We love to see it. Vim.table. These are file types. Would we rather whitelist file types or would we rather whitelist LSPs? We should probably whitelist LSPs, I think. It's not here. Let's go to TS error translator. Man, what a rabbit hole we went down this morning, chat. Let's grab these. And we'll throw. Yeah, this is actually fine. Is there anything else?
Functions describe the world.
We can add that to default config. local function get LSP client. We want this code here. And we can move that down into here. So we have the client, and then rather than if, then, so we move this into here. Right, hold on. Do if then end. And we can get rid of that. And then we want to be able to I want to be able to let users pass in additional servers. Ops. And then we're going to pass ops to this. And we'll say we'll have local default ops. All right, hold on. I feel like a meth head, just keep looking out my windows. Supported servers. Do we want to call it supported servers or servers? We'll call it servers. And then we'll call auto attach true. Ops. We want to merge. And how do we merge? I probably do this in TSC. Do I not have TSC downloaded? Come on. Where's my merge? Where's init? Setup ops, deep extend. That's what we want. How did I do this? Config. Do I export config somewhere? Local config. And then we'll pass ops into this. And we'll say, we'll rename this to config, I guess, maybe. Is that what we did down here? No. All right, that should fix that, and we can get rid of this. Is it time? Yep. All right, chat. I am gonna start the YouTube video, and I'll be back in I don't know how long.
Functions describe the world.
I'm back. We've made it. Sorry that got paused. Probably hopefully it paused when my headphones turned off. That's crazy. How far in did it get? Got 15 minutes. Okay, like at least a little bit. I wish I just had to get blood drawn and pee in a cup. Oh god, that's probably really loud. All right. So this should be better now. And now we can pass in, we can override home.config. That's not what we want. All right, we got that going there. I want to make sure that none of these other requires are doing anything stupid. That looks good. Okay. We technically have a circular dependency here. I'm not sure if that matters in Lua or not. But all right, that should be good there. And then config over here, this should be good. Like we don't even need to call pass the table. You can just call setup and right quit out of there, vim back in. So why did that break? Source Lua TS error. I'm guessing it is because that should hopefully help that. Maybe not. Ops should be fine. Do we need to give it any? Okay, so it looks like it wants a table. That's fine. Okay, I think that's working. Great. Come over here, right quit out of that. Do that. That, get push that. Push, force with lease. There we go. Okay. Let's jump to writing what I intended to today, which was, fuck, it's already noon. I have to wrap up in 7 minutes, so, I'm not even gonna jump in here. Yeah, we'll pick up here on Monday morning, which will be my first day at Cloudflare. Dude, I know. I did not expect that to take as long as it did, and they were supposed to be here at like my appointment was at 10 a.m. and they didn't get here till like 10:50. Okay, let's see. We got ending with Ali, Eduardo. We're gonna go do Giacomo and watch some Gleam and Rust. All right, y'all. I'll be back on Monday. Thank you everyone for hanging out. Sorry the health check took so long, but yeah. All right, peace.